Confidence in supply opposition coordinates. 15 degrees 47 minutes 59 seconds south, 47 degrees 51 minutes 51 seconds west, 15.79972 degrees south, 47.86417 degrees west, minus 15.79972. Minus 47.86417. The Chamber of Deputies is a federal legislative body and the lower house of the National Congress of Brazil. The chamber comprises 513 deputies, who are elected by proportional representation to serve 4-year terms. The current president of the chamber is the Deputy Arthur Lira, who was elected on 1 February 2021. The legislatures are counted from the first meeting of the Chamber of Deputies and of the Senate. On 6 May 1826, in the imperial era, the Chamber of Deputies and the Senate were created by Brazil's first constitution, the Constitution of the Empire of Brazil, adopted in 1824. The numbering of the legislatures is continuous and counts all bicameral legislatures elected since the adoption of the 1824 Constitution, including the Imperial General Assembly and the Republican National Congress, the previous Constituent and Legislative Assembly of the Empire of Brazil. A unicameral National Assembly convened in 1823 and dissolved by Emperor Pedro I before the Constitution was adopted, is not counted. The inauguration of a new composition of Chamber of Deputies for a 4-year term of office marks the start of a new legislature. In the imperial era, the national legislature was named General Assembly. It was made up of the Chamber of Deputies and the Senate. Senators were elected for life and the Senate was a permanent institution, whereas the Chamber of Deputies, unless dissolved earlier, was elected every 4 years. When Brazil became a republic and a federal state, the model of a bicameral legislature was retained at the federal level, but the parliament was renamed National Congress. The National Congress is made up of the Chamber of Deputies and the Federal Senate. Both houses have fixed terms and cannot be dissolved earlier. Under Brazil's present constitution, adopted in 1988, senators are elected to 8-year terms and deputies are elected every 4 years. Each Brazilian state is represented in the Senate by 3 senators. Elections to the Senate are held every 4 years, with either a third or 2/3 of the seats up for election. The number of deputies elected is proportional to the size of the population of the respective state as of 1994. However, no delegation can be made up of less than 8 or more than 70 seats. Thus the least populous state elects 8 federal deputies and the most populous elects 70. These restrictions favor the smaller states at the expense of the more populous states, and so the size of the delegations is not exactly proportional to population. Elections to the Chamber of Deputies are held every 4 years, with all seats up for election. Empire of Brazil, Old Republic, Vargas era legislatures elected under the Republic of 46 legislatures. Elected under the military dictatorship, legislatures elected after the restoration of civilian government. The number of seats per state is distributed according to the number of inhabitants per state, according to the official measurement taken by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics. Through a census held each 10 years, the Brazilian population is represented by 1 deputy for each 362,013 inhabitants on average. But this proportionality is limited by having a minimum of 8 members and a maximum of 70 members per state, these criteria being subject to an apportionment paradox. Therefore, states with 3,258,117 inhabitants upwards have 9 to 70 deputies. Following this scenario, for example, the city of São Paulo with its 11,253,503 inhabitants is represented by 31 deputies of the total members of the state, and the rest of the state with its 28,670,588 inhabitants are represented by 39 MPs. There is a distorted representation of the Brazilian states in Congress, having some groups of deputies representing on average more than the proportion of the population of the state, and others representing less. That proportionality means that Roraima is represented by a deputy for every 51,000 inhabitants, and at the other extreme, São Paulo is represented by 1 deputy for every 585,000 inhabitants. This difference is reflected in the representation of the states in the Brazilian Congress, where some states are overrepresented. such as Roraima, with 681% of the population represented by their congressman. And other states are underrepresented, such as the state of São Paulo, with 63% of the population represented by their congressman. The proportionality is calculated through the division of the percentage of deputies of a state in the chamber by the percentage of the population of such state in the nation. The population of the state of São Paulo, for instance, elects only 70 deputies to the chamber, because of the maximum limits of 70 congressmen by state. But it should have 40 more seats. The House of Deputies is composed of the Bureau of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil by College.